Before I start the video, I'd like to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a giveaway for Modern Warfare once it releases. The only thing that has to be done is I have to reach 1,000 subscribers by the time the game launches, and then once that happens, I will be releasing various posts across all of my social media, so Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course YouTube, giving you guys the ability to enter in the giveaway. So if you guys would like to potentially win a copy of Modern Warfare, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for the release of that post. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy the video. What's up, people of YouTube? This Troll here, bringing you guys another video to the channel, and today we're going to be doing a review over the Modern Warfare 2v2 Gunfight Alpha. So, as we all know, they launched the alpha a little bit early, and then they also gave us a bit of an extension on that alpha, which I think everybody really appreciated. I didn't hear too many complaints from the community in regards to this alpha, or in regards to the mode in general, which was very refreshing because, as we all know, over the course of the last couple of years, especially, you know, with the futuristic Call of Duty games, we've been getting a lot of criticism, hearing a lot of criticism about the games, a lot of complaining in the community, and it's just refreshing to know that so far it seems like people are decently satisfied with what's going on with the next game. So today I'm going to be giving you guys my review and my breakdown of how I think the 2v2 alpha went, and I'm also going to give a little bit of a suggestion in here as well as to what I would like to see come to the game, just a small thing, and we're just going to jump right into everything that I have to talk about. Now, we're going to start with the pros, because of course I do have cons. Not everything is perfect. There are things that I didn't like very much, but we're going to get into that as the second topic. The first thing we're going to discuss are the pros, the things I did enjoy. And to start off here, we do have the maps. So the maps were small and they were to the point, pretty easy to navigate for the most part, and in some cases I would even say they were too easy, but I'll brush up on that later. The maps had a lot of variety, which I did like, and I don't know if that was an intentional thing, and maybe, you know, maps like Pine or maps like Docks, those will be the only maps we see in the game that are like those two maps in specific. You know, the rest of the maps could be more similar to King, for example, or Stack, whatever you could think of. They could be just what we were given a taste of, but from what we did see, it did feel like there was a lot of variety within the maps, and I really did appreciate that. It made things feel good, and the color on the maps was really good to me. The color for the whole game, from what I can tell, looks like it's gonna be good, and this is something I've come to not expect from Infinity Ward. I've kind of expected them to have very toned down colors and very like everything has a filter over it, like a grayish filter. Even though there is color, it's just not very bright, and I just know Treyarch provides the bright colors. So it's nice to see that Infinity Ward is releasing a game that does have bright colors. You know, it is more realistic. It's not like Treyarch titles, and that's fine, but I'm happy to see that there are some good colors on these maps. The maps have good flow as well. There wasn't too many issues that I had with the flow. There was a little bit of something I'll talk about in the cons section, but for the most part, I would say the flow was pretty good. There was also a lot of good visibility. If you guys remember back in Call of Duty Ghosts, which this was something I was really worried about going into this, and it could still be a problem with the full game, but as of right now, it's fine. But in Call of Duty Ghosts, there was a lot of problem with dark locations and dark spots. Like, Pine is one of those maps where I was concerned that I was not going to be able to spot enemies, and it was going to be a nightmare. Part of the thing that helped with this is the fact that you have the red name tag above the enemies that was very visible, but the overall visibility of enemy players was great in my opinion. I never had an issue being able to see, oh, that's a person moving, or oh, that's a person sitting on a head glitch. Like, I could tell that was an enemy, and that's great, and really nice to know that I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. Now, the weapons are extremely satisfying to use. They just felt so amazing to get kills with, some more than others. The Deagle was just unbelievably satisfying to get kills with, and then of course headshots as well. So I mean, the headshots with the Deagle was disgusting. Shotguns, for whatever reason, this could end up being a problem. I mean, that's an opinion-based thing, but I think the shotguns are in a pretty good place from what I can tell, at least for this mode. The shotguns were really satisfying to get a one-hit kill with. I really liked it. Some of the sniper rifles, the M14, when you got a headshot with that, it felt great. The lever-action rifle felt great when you'd get a solid kill. Semi-automatic modes on some of the ARs felt really good to get kills with. So, again, the guns just feel so satisfying to get kills with. They feel really, really powerful, really realistic. They just have a nasty kick and punch when you shoot them, and I don't necessarily mean in terms of recoil, but they're just so beefy. Like I've used that to describe them before. They're just disgusting. They're good. I'm really happy where they're at. Recoil could be a different discussion, but right now, in terms of the visual aspect of the weapons, the reload animations, the way that they feel, the way that they sound, all of that, I'm very happy with. SMGs and assault rifles in particular, to me, felt equally useful. So SMGs, I felt comfortable being able to rush with that and get up into people's faces. Assault rifles, I felt comfortable with those, and semi-automatic and fully automatic, depending on the situation, and being able to look down a long line of sight and know that I can put bullets down range and I'm probably going to get a kill. So assault rifles felt right. SMGs felt right. If I was to lean towards what I think just based off of this mode, what the game is going to cater towards, right now it seems like SMGs are going to be pretty dominant. The MP7 and the MP5 both were very powerful. The AUG was a lot of fun. Those three guns right there as SMGs were powerhouses, whereas, you had the FAMAS, you had the Odin, you had the AK-47, the M4, the M13, I think it was called. The M4, the M13, the AK-47, those were all very enjoyable guns. The other ones, not as much. I mean, the FAMAS was decent, but it wasn't amazing in my opinion, and the Odin wasn't great, but it was better in semi-automatic. But regardless, I think they were all equally useful. I don't think that any of them were bad by any means, and that's a good thing to hear. The movement felt really smooth and still realistic and snappy. So I was worried from the gameplay that I watched, not that it would feel so much as clunky as it was that I would just feel so limited coming from the past 3 or 4 Call of Duty games, and that's not something I'm really running into an issue with. I feel like if I see somebody, I can snap to them real fast. If I see a situation where I need to slide into cover, I can still do it, and it's not absolutely ridiculous like it was with Black Ops 4. It feels good, it feels right, and I think that as long as there's enough cover, there's enough scenarios to where sliding is viable, and taking cover and head glitches is a good thing, but not too ridiculous, then I think we have a good game on our hands in terms of movement, speed, and just the overall movement of your character and enemy characters. It's exciting to know that the headshots matter again. With certain guns, it is nice to know that when you get a headshot, it does matter. It's going to put people down. With SMGs, when you get a headshot, it's going to do a lot of damage to their body, and you can finish them off and clean them up quick with other body shots. The sound quality in the game is amazing. Now, obviously there's going to be some tuning that has to be done with the footsteps, but overall, absolutely loved the sound of the game. The guns, again, felt great. When the bullets hit the ground or where you were shooting the gun mattered a lot. Just a little thing, but that is really exciting to me, and I'm glad that they took the time to pay the extra attention of detail to things like the sound of the guns in certain rooms and the shell casings hitting the floor and the wall, etc. Now, this is more of a personal thing. The next few subjects I'm going to talk about, this is an opinion-based thing, but this game brings out a competitive passion within me that I have not had for so long. I have not felt this drive to compete and to win rounds like it's a clutch S&D moment since Call of Duty Ghosts. And that's crazy to say because I've definitely expressed my opinion of dislike towards Ghosts, but I played a lot of competitive Call of Duty then. And things that I enjoyed the most from that game was S&D, and it was so refreshing to play this again and to feel those moments all over again. And I was doing that with some of my friends that I experienced those moments with 6 years ago or however long it's been. And it was such a satisfying feeling, and that's probably the thing that I'm looking forward to the most. I'm looking forward to those round 11s, S&D style situations where you have to get a 1v2 or you have to get this clutch kill or you're really low on health and you have to challenge for the flag. it's a competitive thing that just feels so good that I haven't felt in so long, and I'm really looking forward to feeling that more often. And it's just so simple, but it works so well. It's not overcomplicated. There's 3 ways that you can win. Kills, obviously, the flag, and by having more health than the other team. It's really basic. You make your decisions based off those 3 things that lead to a win, and it just works so well. And as long as the maps are very similar to what we have now, maybe with some little bit of changes here and there, we're in for a good year on this mode, and I'm just really excited. Like, this could almost be separated from regular multiplayer and put in its own separate category, and I think it would thrive. If the regular multiplayer alone for this game was really, really bad, in my opinion, if this mode has enough variety and has enough to it, brackets are confirmed. If there's different game modes, there's just different stuff you can do, and there's plenty of maps, this in and of itself could take the game to a new level. Maybe they extend this out to having 3v3, maybe they extend it to having 4v4. That stuff is all awesome, and I would love to see them explore in that area. And the last thing here, in terms of how it made me feel, was I forgot about time while I was playing this. This game made me just forget what I was doing. It made me forget about the things I had to do the next day. It made me forget about the stresses that I had the day before at work. I sat down, I started playing, and I didn't get up for 6 hours. And it was such a great feeling. That hasn't happened to me since Black Ops 3, and even in Black Ops 3, it definitely wasn't that strong. This level of enjoyment and just forgetting about what's going on hasn't been a thing for me since Black Ops 2. And you guys are going to see in a future gameplay, or in a future video, that I played with my friend Omniarch, and that video is a 43-minute video, 45-minute video, something like that. But what you don't know is when I sat down to edit that video, guys, that was 4 hours of us playing. And then prior to me playing with him, I had already played for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I played for so long, and it felt so good. And to do that with my friends, it's just such a crazy feeling, and we were both enjoying it. It didn't feel forced. It was just one game right after another, back to back. The matches end fast. They're about 4 to 5 minutes. Then it throws you right into another one. There's no huge wait time or prepping classes or whatever. And of course, it's in the alpha. We'll have to wait and see what it's like in the full game. But if they can somehow get the time in between matches to flow the way that it does in the alpha, I'm going to be so hooked on this. It's going to be crazy. Now, one little tip that I would like to throw in here, that I would like to see added to the full game, is for this mode at least, I think that it would be nice to have a health bar above the enemies, because when you're in a gunfight and they kill you, but you did a lot of damage, it's sometimes hard to tell how much damage you did by looking up at the health bar, because maybe your teammate's doing damage to someone else. Maybe it's, it happens so fast, by the time you look up there and you figure out how much damage is and call it out, it's too late. So I would like to see a health bar above the enemies, so when you do damage, you can instantly say, you know what, I hit him for 68 damage. He's got 42 damage left, or he's, knowing what guns you guys are using, you can say he is 2-shot, he's 1-shot, whatever the case is. I think that'd be nice. I think that'd be tactical. Not necessary, just something that I think would be fun to see added to the game. Now let's get into some of the cons. I want you guys to know, before I start discussing the cons do not mean that I hate the game. Cons do not mean that I'm trying to trash on what developers have done or anything of the sort. This is literally just the things that I noticed in the game that I personally would like to see changed or removed completely. So that's just a little bit of a warning before I get into the cons topic here. So first of all, I'm going to discuss the maps. Some of the maps played kind of weird and were hard to get a read on. Like I had previously mentioned, the flow was good for 90% of it. But I will say that Pine had a very, very confusing pacing, and it was hard to play in most cases. From the amount of clutter and cover that there was on the map, which I'm not against having a lot of cover, but just the way that the map was laid out, it was kind of hard to tell where enemies were at sometimes, unless you could already see them. The spawn points were just strange, and you couldn't tell. It was just weird to read enemies. Like, you played other maps so many times, you could tell the way that the game was going to go, and that wasn't the case with this map. It just didn't play that way, and that's something that I'd like to see changed. And I hope that we don't have too many other maps that play like that, because if so, it would be definitely disappointing. Stack was too easy to tell where people were going, so kind of in the opposite direction. So this to me led to very boring rounds or just frustrating reads. So, you know, you would spawn, you both know exactly where the other person's going to be. You've got two options. You're either dropping down or you're going left or right. The left and right option is very easy to get picked off in most cases. And if you're dropping down, then there's only two ways to watch. You know, you're either watching left or up the steps. So this to me led to just getting very stale very quick, or just being irritated because it always felt like they were getting the jump on you. It was just frustrating. I feel like there needs to be another option. Maybe if they can extend the map size a little bit in the back, so you have an option to like go back and down the steps so they can't exactly see where you're going, and then wrap around, or maybe there's just, you know, some other like avenue in the middle that goes underneath. Just give us a third option than just left or right, basically. And I don't really like that with this map, and I think this is probably the smallest map out of all of them, I want to say. It was still fun. It was still enjoyable. I just think that it was a little too basic. Stack and King had very irritating spawn protection. There's something that needs to be done with that, in my opinion, because you spawn and you go left or right, and you're either going to get shot right away, or you're just going to barely get away and they know where you're at. And I can understand, you know, people being able to read which direction you're going in off spawn. That's fine. But there's too much of a gap there for you to get taken out by a really good, well-rounded headshot, or whatever the case is. It's just a little too random for my preference. So I would like to see a change made to that. I'd like to see, you know, maybe a little bit more cover on both those maps. Again, with the stack option, if there was a third way to go, that'd be fine. Of course, you don't really have that option with King, and I don't think there needs to be a third option. I just think there needs to be like another like little head glitch or something, like a waist high cover in between the crates and where you initially spawn. I think that would really fix a lot of things. The sound was almost perfect, but it did still have some issues in hearing what direction people were going in, and I'm sure this is going to be something that is fixed. The sound doesn't need to be crazy, because then we run into the issue of being able to hear every movement, and that's not something that I want to deal with. But the sound was still a little bit hard to tell, you know, if people were above you, below you. Although it was hard to tell, the sound was very distinctive. I knew if they were on metal, I knew if they were on wood, I knew if they were on concrete. Like, that stuff was all clear, and I'm happy that that's a thing, but just needs a little bit of tuning, I think. I'm just going to be honest here. The LMGs were downright awful. Both LMGs that we got to use in this were so bad, and every single time that we got the LMGs, I literally sighed and was like, oh my god, not these. Not these LMGs. They're bad, and I hope that this doesn't impact the full game, because of course nobody wants LMG target finders. Nobody wants to feel that. But I do want them to be balanced. I want them to be to where I can use them and have fun with them. I just don't want them to be so bad that I don't want to ever use them, and so good that everybody wants to use them because they're cheap kills. If there can be some sort of a balance in there to where there's a purpose to have them, and to those who just prefer using them, they can do good with them if they understand how they work, then I think that's a nice spot to be in. But right now, LMGs are downright awful. From what I could tell, the explosives were very weak. Now, a lot of the classes had some sort of a flak jacket on, but the noob tubes, I'm not asking for strong noob tubes, don't get me wrong, but the noob tubes, I was shooting at people from like 5 feet away, and it was exploding, and I wasn't even getting a hit marker. It was pretty crazy, and I think that there needs to be a little bit more range to the explosives, even if it's not like destroying them with the explosives. You know, I'm not saying, I think I got 1 grenade kill the entire time I played, and I played for probably like a combined total of like 12 hours. So I'm not saying that the explosives need to be so strong that they kill people right away, but there needs to be a little bit more range on the damage of them, in my opinion. Speaking of explosives being really weak, I don't know if I'll be able to find the clip, but I did get a direct hit with a Molotov after I had already damaged a person, and the Molotov didn't kill him with a direct hit. And it costed me the round, because direct hit with a Molotov should, in my opinion, always be a 100% elimination. I was mind blown when I direct hit this dude with a Molotov, jumped out the window, killed his teammate, and I stood there for a half a second thinking, okay, I just won, and then I got shot in the back by the dude that I direct hit with the Molotov. That's not okay. That needs to be fixed for sure. The M19 pistol, again, this was very, very bad. I wanted to touch up on this specifically just because it is a pistol, it is a secondary. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the first pistol that we unlock in the game at all, and that's fine. I'm happy that they're giving us a taste of all the guns in the game, but this gun is a little bit weak. I can understand if this was a 4 to 5 shot kill and a 5 shot kill at very long ranges, but I think that if you're going to make it a 4 to 5 shot kill, you need to make it to where we have pretty much 100% free access to the trigger pull. Like, I mean, if we can pull the trigger as fast as possible and dump those bullets down range with the visual recoil and get a kill, that should be rewarded. This pistol just, it was bad. There was a cap on how fast you could shoot it. It wasn't crazy. I mean, it was tolerable, but it was just not enjoyable, to say the least. So the M19 pistol needs a slight buff. Doesn't need to be super strong, just needs a little bit of a buff. OSP was fun for a little while, the OSP mode, but after a while it became really predictable, which again just led to boring rounds. I mean, it came down to, okay, we're on this map, we know where this gun is, let's grab that, and let's go. And then if you didn't get that, then it was like, okay, well, the teammate's got this, and I've got this, we're pretty much beat. I didn't like that too much. This is a mode on personal preference that I probably won't play a whole lot of, and that's just my one con. I don't think it needs to be removed. I think a lot of people will prefer this round. I don't think anything needs to necessarily be changed. It's just not for me, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. Playing alone, this one kind of goes, is kind of a given, but playing alone was an absolute miserable experience. Like, I went from playing 6 hours with friends and having so much fun to the next day playing 2 hours by myself, and I completely rethought everything that I felt about the game, to the point of being like, wow, do I really want to pre-order this? That's a little drastic, obviously. I was in the feels at the moment, but playing this mode alone is very, very bad, and I will not be doing that at all. So if you guys, I mean, if somebody out there enjoyed doing this alone, please leave a comment down below and tell me why. Sure, it's satisfying to get those 1v2 moments or to clutch up and pull out a win with a rando that you can't even talk to, but overall, I did not like playing alone. The black and white screen when you're injured, as well as the sound when you're injured, like below 25% health, is just downright awful. I'm okay with the red, like, blur, splash blood. That can be as strong as you want, but keep my color the same. Please do not make it to where it's drowned out in black and white, and I can't hear anything. And I get that you're trying to go with the more realistic route, especially with the sound, but it's a video game, and this is something that I don't think needs to be changed for the sake of a video game. I don't think it adds anything. I think it just takes away from the overall fun aspect of the game. So please, if you can, if somebody at Infinity Ward was to happen to see this video somehow, please remove that. These are my last two things, and there are a couple small ones because I'm certain that these are going to be fixed. First one being is there was a lot of instances where I could see enemies' names through walls off spawn, or I could see them, if I was looking for somebody and I was ADSing and I brushed over a wall, I could see their name pop up for a half a second, and that was all I needed to know that they were there. These are things that have to be changed, obviously. This is going to affect how the game plays, but I'm sure that Infinity Ward is aware of this and they're already looking into a fix for it. Also, the third-person view of enemies is definitely off. There were many instances where I was in a fight with somebody, I thought they were looking, slightly to the right, and so I thought I could just take a quick shot at them. Turns out they were looking at me, and then I started getting shot at, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. Or they were jumping, and it looked like they were going straight to the left of me, like facing the left of me and not right at me, and again, I thought it was an easy kill. Turns out they were doing a jump shot, and they were looking right at me, but from my screen, that was not the case. Anyways, guys, that is everything that I have for my Modern Warfare 2v2 review. Let me know what you guys thought of the mode down in the comment section. Also, if you enjoyed my review, if you agreed with anything, please go ahead and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe, because I do have plans of having tons of Modern Warfare content coming to the channel during the beta and during release. It's going to be really exciting. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and deuces.